Delta 547, wind 19016, runway 22 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 22 right, clear for takeoff, Delta 547.
Taxi via
Air traffic controllers protect our nation's airways. These are the stories of real air traffic controllers to boldly deliver a safe, orderly, and expeditious flow of air traffic from their departure point to their final destination.
Wind 19016, runway 22 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 22 right, clear for takeoff, Delta 547.
And what happened was there was a VFR Mexican pilot on the other side of the border. We were working Laredo, and he got on top of the clouds and couldn't get down. I may not have the details right, but what I remember is the Nuevo Laredo approach controller called us and explained the situation. And Steve was, I'm trying to remember. Steve saw the guy on radar, and he was trying to direct him to line him up with a runway. Now the guy was not instrument rated, so he didn't know how to, do an ILS or anything. So the idea was we were going to line him up and give him altitudes. Meanwhile, the Mexican controller, because we didn't have Mexican approach charts, they were feeding the information to us, and then Steve would line this guy up and start him down into the clouds. Steve was pretty good, was semi-fluent in Spanish. So I was talking to the Mexican controller, who was giving me the information off his instrument charts, and then I would relay that to Steve. Steve would talk to the pilot in Spanish, and lo and behold, he descended through the clouds, maintained control of the airplane, broke out of the clouds, lined up with the runway, and safely landed. I should back up a little bit. The first thing we, of course, recommended was that he go back to Monterey or someplace where there was good weather. He didn't have the fuel to do that. But there was kind of an issue there. I'm trying to remember who my supervisor was. I can't remember. But the assistant chief came by and he said, "What are you guys doing that? We're not authorized to do that. You can't be doing that." He was trying to get us to back off, and we both ignored him.
Well, in an emergency, you can do anything.
Well, but he was trying to tell us something different. And whoever my supervisor was, I heard him talking behind me, and he got the assistant chief to back off, and we got it done.
You do what you got to do.
Excellent.
Team job.
Nicely done. Yeah,
That's
another
the same
airline.
thing that happened at Brandon, that the hijack came down.
Lake Jackson?
Yeah, they
National.
yeah,
That was
they going south in the Gulf, and they scrambled the 106s off Alec. The 727 out turned the 106s. The 106s lost him, and he went to Lake Jackson and landed, blew out all tires.
It was only 3,600 feet. Now it's about 7,000. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Crosstalk. Crosstalk. I apologize for crosstalk.
I got a funny story.
But they had to take
Tell
everything
about
out of
when
there.
I was at the fence.
Well, they went off the end, and it was hard pan to where they. And then that co-pilot had to come out the window. Terrible story.
The one at New Orleans, I read about that a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at stuff. And that old NASA, there was actually a dirt strip they had built there right beside it. They moved that airplane over about 70 or 80 yards, and he took off on a 3,000-foot dirt strip that they could get off on to get back to the airport. I forgot, it was like 1,100 gallons of gas or something like that. They put the bare minimum on it to get it warmed up.
She was pretty empty.
That would make us. That would make us happy.
He was a one-eyed pilot. Because Taka was from Honduras or Guatemala or somewhere, and some of the drug, he used to fly puddle jumper down there, and he was shot through his cheek, and that ruined one of his eyes, but he got some kind of waiver where he could still fly.
Was it left eye or right eye?
I'm not sure.
He'd have to, if it was the right eye, he had to be the left side.
Hey,
What a story that
Hey, Shelley, you told me about a story at Carswell Air Force Base with an F-111 and the KC-35. Could you tell that?
yeah, I was working control tower in Air Force, Carswell Air Force Base, SAC base. Strategic Air Command sent B-52s, KC-135s, and west side of the runway was General Dynamics, and they were making the F-111 at the time. So The runway's huge, it's 11,500 feet long, 1,000 feet of overrun on each end and 300 feet wide. So Sunday morning, there was nothing going on, and the B-52s or KC-135s would have what they call a controlled departure time. That's when they wanted to take off. They still had to get clearance from control tower to do it. So KC-135 got taxi instructions down at the south end of the runway, going to take off north. It's holding short, had about 10 minutes for time to take off. And so an F-111 called me, there's nothing going on, calm wind, and he wanted to go mid-runway, opposite direction takeoff to the south. So I cleared him to takeoff, there's nothing going on. So he starts rolling, I'm writing down the time, I look to my left, here comes the KC-135 rolling. So now they're doing this number on the same runway. And so I got keyed the mic and I said, abort, 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 aircraft opposite direction. And the F-111 said, we see him, we'll be airborne before we get to him. He pulled up and KC-135 shut everything down. Immediately, they start blaming us and they pulled the tapes. And what happened, the command post asked the KC-135, can you take off immediately? Oh, absolutely, we can do that. They didn't bother to ask us. Anyway, it's kind of a funny looking deal we had going on there.